Welcome to Into the Abyss. I'm Kevin Lucia. If you follow me on Facebook, then you know we had a snow day today. So that means it's time for Snow Day Horror Review. Today, after much deliberation, I chose to watch Starfish, which you can see free on Amazon Prime. Starfish is directed by A.T. White, starring Virginia Gardner as the protagonist Aubrey, and it's a very low-key, muted, sci-fi cosmic horror film about the end of the world, a mildly Lovecraftian end of the world. Really, it's more of an emotional journey for the protagonist as well. Aubrey is attending the funeral of her friend Grace, who's passed away. There's some unspoken baggage there at the very beginning. We're not sure what it is. Flashbacks to looks like Aubrey's boyfriend, things like that, but we're really not given a lot in the very, very beginning. After the funeral, which Aubrey has to flee from because she just can't bear to talk to anyone, later that night she breaks into Grace's apartment and kind of spends the night there grieving. The next morning, however, she wakes up and her town is blanketed with like Arctic-like snow. Everyone is gone. Cars are stranded in the middle of the road. There's signs of violence and destruction. And as she's wandering around looking for people, she's attacked by this strange, otherworldly, yes, Lovecraftian bipedal being. She had taken a walkie-talkie along with her that was in Grace's apartment, and as she's cowering, hiding in the diner that Grace lives above, the walkie-talkie comes to life, and a man tells her to close your eyes, hold the walkie-talkie out toward the door where the monster's trying to get in. And a tone plays over the walkie-talkie. The man then tells her that he's been communicating with Grace for several months because they're working with a group that has detected a signal that's been hiding in our transmissions for years. They believe these signals have interdimensional properties and can open doorways. So that's where the monsters have come. That's where everyone has gone. And he and Grace have been working together to try to piece these signals together in a way to repel the beasts. And he implores Aubrey to help. That night, Aubrey listens to the tape that Grace was going to mail to her, and Grace lays it all out, that she's been working to solve this problem. She figures Aubrey's the only one to believe her. And then she says, I've hidden these tapes where I found different pieces of the signal around town where we used to go together. The places they used to go when they grew up. Aubrey doesn't initially embark on her mission, though. She shuts the walkie-talkie off because she doesn't want to touch the guy anymore and decides that, well, this is the apocalypse. This is a great time for me to work out all my problems. And she actually says that. She says somewhere along the lines of, it's always been a fantasy of mine where everyone would just disappear and nothing would be left but the trees. And then she says to herself, one of her monologues, I wonder if I ignore the world, if it'll just go away. Apparently the apocalypse, it's not really frightening for her at first. For her, it's almost what she's always wanted, to finally be alone. And she kind of does that whole last man on earth thing, rumbling around her town, just collecting the things she needs, having run-ins with the monsters. And so she finally decides that she needs to do this one last thing that Grace wanted her to do. And she embarks upon this journey around town collecting these tapes. And she's dodging the monsters here and there. The monsters and the horror here is really muted. I was looking at a review of this movie, and I actually called this movie had a much more relaxed grip than, say, A Quiet Place. And it does. It's really more of an emotional journey for Aubrey, because as she's going around town collecting these tapes, listening to the music, we're given the idea that she's carrying some guilt for something. We're not sure what it is. She has like a flashback or a hallucination or speaking with a ghost of her friend Grace, where Grace tells her she needs to forgive and forget and move on and to forgive herself. And Aubrey is begging Grace for forgiveness. We're never quite sure what. Seems to be something happened with Aubrey's boyfriend, and where the kind of the horrific implications is maybe the boyfriend committed suicide over it, or is it Grace's boyfriend that Aubrey was carrying on an affair with? This is never made clear for us. But really, that's the bulk of the movie. There is that thin plot for her to get the tapes, and it's good because it gives the movie some forward momentum. But if you're looking for a fast-paced, adventurous, action-packed movie, this isn't it. And it doesn't have that same unrelenting, surreal weirdness that was maybe in The Endless, which is a great work of cosmic horror. It's more like this person trying to come to grips with her demons and the backdrop of a Lovecraftian apocalypse. She does eventually collect the tapes. You'll have to watch the movie to find out whether or not collecting them all together and playing them is a good or a bad thing. But anyway, I highly recommend if you're looking for something that's thoughtful and philosophical and more of an emotional journey, then I highly recommend Starfish on Amazon Prime.